Questions are being raised in the wake of yesterday's double fatal train car crash in Stuarts Draft. WHSV was told by several residents that the arms to the railroad crossing function perfectly at Offlighter Road, where the accident happened. But within a mile, two other crossings often malfunction. As our camera caught today at one of those nearby crossings, as you see here at Draft Avenue, just as residents are saying, the arms guarding the railroad close and reopen without a train going through. And joining us now to discuss railroad crossing warning devices is Warren Flatow, a spokesperson for the Federal Railroad Administration. Warren, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, how often do malfunctions occur?
They occur with some regularity. There are over 200,000 grade crossings in the country. About 140,000 of those are public roadways, and among those, half are equipped with these flashing lights and gates. And while these systems generally are very reliable and they're designed to function in the fail-safe mode, there are malfunctions, if you will, that occur periodically, even at ones with the newest technology.
Okay, and I understand when you and I were talking earlier, there's actually two types of malfunctions. Can you explain both to us?
That's correct. There is what is referred to as a false activation, which is what appears to be occurring in your neck of the woods. A false activation is where flashing lights and gates go on in the absence of a train, which would mislead a motorist or a pedestrian into believing that a train is approaching when in fact it's not. An activation failure, as the word suggests, involves the functioning of these lights and gates or the failure of those to function with the approach of a train, again suggesting to a pedestrian or a motorist that a train is not coming when in fact one is.
Which obviously that's a bit more serious, but even the first one, the false activation, has problems because it's like crying wolf too often. People think, oh yeah, those, that one doesn't work that well. It goes down, so you're thinking a train may be coming through, it goes down, but you're thinking, yeah, it does that all the time, and there's not a train coming through, so people get misled into not really trusting the device.
That's correct, and most of us are creatures of habit, and we become conditioned much as we would driving up to an intersection with a common highway traffic signal. If we believe that the light changes after 30 seconds, and that were to change, that would alter our perception and possibly our behavior.
Now, when people talk about these problems that they've evidently encountered in that area, what should they do?
Well, the first thing that people should do is, of course, always exercise caution when approaching and navigating and driving over a highway rail grade crossing. And that means slowing down, looking both ways, listening for a train, even at a location where you may cross multiple times a day. The second thing to do is if you see a malfunctioning gate or flashing lights, there are often toll-free numbers posted on signs near the crossing or on a signal box, which you could use to contact the railroad directly, and very often posted next to that number is a 6-digit and one-letter series of numbers that is an identifier. Thus, a resident, a driver can call and say, I'm at such and such location, this is the road name, here's the number, these lights and gates are not working. The railroad in turn should dispatch someone immediately. In the absence of a toll-free number, we strongly encourage motorists and pedestrians to contact local law enforcement, who in turn can contact the railroad.
Okay, but really the railroad needs to take care of this on an expeditious manner, I guess, right? This is something that can really mislead travelers.
Absolutely, you're completely right about that, and it is something, for example, that if it's a recurring problem, we often will get involved and look into the matter to ensure that any underlying conditions can be, addressed in a timely manner. If the railroad is failing, it would.
Okay. I'm sorry, Warren, but we're out of time. But again, if people encounter a problem, they should call the proper authorities and make sure the proper authorities, the railroad, are notified. I want to thank Warren Flatow with the Federal Railroad Administration for joining us.